Okay, so after watching this movie, I think I kind of have the plot down. So Batman is married to Mystique, but Batman is also having like some sort of an affair with Lois Lane. Then Batman and Lois Lane are approached by Rocket Raccoon, who then uses them to help him catch Hawkeye. I think that's the plot. American Hustle is directed by David O. Russell and was also written by David O. Russell and Eric Warren Singer. This movie stars Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Bradley Cooper, and Jennifer Lawrence. Christian Bale's character, Irving Rosenfeld, teams up with Amy Adams' character, whose name is Sidney Proser, whatever. And they're pretty much blackmailed by this guy named Richie DeMazo, played by Bradley Cooper, and he's trying to use their conning abilities to try and catch certain people in the act. One of which is Mayor Carmine Polito, played by Jeremy Renner. Jennifer Lawrence plays Christian Bale's character's crazy wife. Her name's Rosalind, and really these characters are just so, oh my god, they're just so interesting to watch. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Before going into this movie, like I had been hearing varying opinions about it. Like I know it was nominated for 10 Oscars, which is huge. Lots of critics have been praising it, but also I've been hearing other people say that it's pretty overrated. So yeah, there are those two sides, good and overrated. And after watching the movie, I have to admit that I loved it. Like I'm on that side. I'm on the side of people who love this movie. It is so unlike anything I've ever seen, and I do think it is worthy of those Oscar nominations. And really, the prime reason why I think the movie is so good is the direction from David O. Russell. He just has such good balance, Like the thing that I loved about Silver Linings Playbook, and the thing I love about this movie is that it strikes such a line between drama and comedy to the point where it doesn't feel like the movie's shifting from one to the other, which could seem jarring, which is what a lot of other movies do. Instead, this movie really rides that line so well that the drama and the comedy combine, and like it's just one thing. I think the reason why that is because like the movie itself, like the plot and the characters, are so preposterous. It's like a lot of this is really really ridiculous, but at the same time, there's always this undercurrent of something at stake. And I love how, at the end of the day, this is a story about its characters. This plot remains engaging. It's almost convoluted, but it manages to just be complex. There's a difference there, and it really is like a complex plot that you just really have to keep listening to. And the dialogue too. I mean, yeah, again, it's very listenable. I'm not sure if that's a word, but I'm using it now. It's very listenable. Like this movie is just it's over 2 hours long. It's about 2 hours 20, and it's just super super engaging to watch. Let's talk about the acting first, of course. Like Christian Bale is like the master of doing things to his body that no proper actor should do. Like I almost refuse to believe that he gained such a belly in this movie, because I'm used to seeing him either like super skinny or super buff. But here this guy put on some weight, man, and he looks like a sleazy dude, like hairy everywhere. But his character Irving Rosenfeld, like he's the character among the five main ones here who really goes through the most. And he really pulls it off. Like Christian Bale really pulls it off because this character is so complex. There's so many layers to him, but he really manages to just go with this swagger that really encapsulates all of. Amy Adams and Bradley Cooper also pull this off very well, especially Amy Adams, who not only shifts, between drastic emotions, she also shifts between a British accent and an American accent, which I think she did both very well. Bradley Cooper is like the loudest character here. He's always mad. Like he gets increasingly more arrogant and self-confident about himself, and he's like really really passionate about certain things, and he just feels so in charge. But at the same time, his character is kind of pathetic, which is really really cool. Jeremy Renner and Jennifer Lawrence aren't in this a lot, but Jeremy Renner really surprised me because I don't really know him for dramatic roles such as this. I didn't know him as Hawkeye and the dude from The Hurt Locker, but here he's really really good. Jennifer Lawrence here doesn't really feel like she's acting because watching her interviews and stuff, that she's kind of crazy in a good way, in a really good way. I love Jennifer Lawrence, and here she's just really off the hook. She's just really having fun with it. You can tell, but at the same time, you can feel how this character deep down is pretty messed up. And again, the writing here is so good. Like it manages to do what a lot of scripts fail to do, which is make each character feel completely different from each other, but at the same time, they still feel like they're in one thing. The dialogue is sharp, and it really avoids lots of heavy exposition. There is narration, but it doesn't feel like exposition. And it's interesting to note that this is really a movie about con artists, and the movie really shows that, but none of the writing really feels like it's trying to shed any light on the actual art of conning. Like, this movie is, again, super focused on its characters, and it really is more about the reactions these characters have with each other, like the relationships they have. I also do have to mention the music because, when you have a movie set in the 70s, it's so tempting to use the big 70s songs, like. But David O. Russell's musical choices here are so surprising. They're so pleasantly surprising, and they're so well used. Like, all the music is very downbeat, it's very jazzy and stuff. And like, these highlight certain emotions in scenes that you wouldn't normally get if he had used other music, which is really, really cool. Production design wise, and like costumes and makeup and stuff, it's also very well done. Like, everyone has crazy haircuts, and Amy Adams has really attractive dresses. I have to admit. But it represents the 70s in a way that does not hit you in the face. It's very subtle production design, but that's the stuff that really works. It sets you into that era, but it doesn't feel like they're throwing you into the 70s. It feels like they're picking you up, kind of placing you gently in the 70s, and you get to enjoy these characters. But for all the great parts this movie has working for it, I really do feel like the only flaw I have with this movie is the fact that it does get quite uneven at points, because this movie is, it really trucks along. Like, dialogue is always happening, but sometimes it kind of slows down, and especially at the beginning, it's kind of slow to start. And generally speaking, this movie really does get better as it goes on. Like, at the beginning, I did feel like there were some things David O. Russell could have done in order to make stuff feel more consistent, make stuff feel more watchable. But that's just at the start. That's a very minor problem in a movie that's filled with great stuff. So yes, we will see how American Hustle fares at the Oscars. Have you guys seen American Hustle? If you did, whatever you think about it, if you agree with me or if you disagree, please leave me a comment and let's have a conversation.